Welcome back to my Vishavatulala channel. Today's topic is about the OWASP. First of all, we will discuss about what is OWASP and we'll discuss about the list of 10 vulnerabilities of OWASP from 2010 to 2021. Then we will discuss about all the OWASP of 2021 10 vulnerabilities by one. Okay. OWASP. OWASP stands for Open Web Application Security Project. OWASP is the international non-profit foundation that was created to help improve the application security. It provides the free articles, methodology, documentation, tools, and framework to help the organization build, buy, and maintain applications that can be trusted. They build a free security tools. The most famous in OWASP is JAP. JAP stands for Jet Attack Proxy, a free open source tool that developers and testers use to automatically find the security vulnerabilities in web application during the development phase. Here are the list of OWASP 10 vulnerabilities from 2010 to 2021. As in this video, I have told you that the OWASP is one of the non-profit organization who gave us the 10 vulnerabilities approximately about the 3 or 4 years, they give us the 10 vulnerabilities. In 2010, our first vulnerabilities was the injection. And it is also repeated in 2013 here, injection number 1. In 2017, it is in the is number 1. In 2021 it is on number 3. Likewise, I will show you about the 10 vulnerabilities. Right, in 2010, the number 1 vulnerabilities they have discovered was the injection. In number 2, it was the cross-site scripting. In number 3 was the broken authentication and session management. In number 4, insecure direct object references. In number 5, cross-site request forgery. In number 6, it was the security misconfiguration. In number 7, it is the insecure cryptographic storage. In number 8 is failure to restrict. In number 9, insufficient transport layer protection. In number 10 is the unvalidated redirects and forwards. In 2013, also it is repeated of the 2010, but some of the vulnerabilities are added. I have colored a green color for the new vulnerabilities that are discovered by OWASP. In number 6, we can find the sensitive data exposure. In number 7 is missing function level access. In number 9, it is the using component with known vulnerabilities. In 2017, they have discovered new vulnerabilities in number 4, it was the XML external entities. In number 5, it was the broken access control. In number 8, it was discovered the insecure deserialization. In number 10, it was the insufficient logging and monitoring. Our latest vulnerabilities they have discovered was the 2021. It is the broken access control, the new vulnerabilities they have found was vulnerable and outdated component In number 7, it is the identification and authentication failures. In number 8, it is the software and data integrity failure. In number 10, it is the server-side security forgery. Now, I will going to discuss about the 2021. I am going to discuss about the all the vulnerabilities, 10 vulnerabilities of 2020. Okay, the number one vulnerabilities was the broken access control. Broken access control also it has the three types: horizontal privilege explanation, vertical privilege explanation, and third type was the context dependent access control bypass. For example, in Facebook you can only access only your account, but if you can also access the another Facebook account, then it is called broken access control. It means that the in Facebook only the user of your own login, for example, the in Facebook you only have the access to log in that Facebook account, or you cannot log in of another person. If you can log in the another person or see any data from that application, then it is called the broken access control. First of all, we will discuss about the horizontal privilege escalation. This happens when the user accesses a resource belonging to another user with an exact same privilege level. You log in into your account and view your profile or transaction history. You notice your URL looks like this. Yeah, http idomain.com v1 gate account details account ID 10052. The manual change the account ID parameter in the URL or http request body to 10053. If the backend server simply execute the SQL server select star from TVL account where account ID 10053 without checking if the current login in session actually owns account of 10053, the attackers can view another customer private data. It means that if the login user's account ID is 10052. For example, this link in browser, you have like this. Suppose one of the browser you have like this kind of the link, and you have all the data of the account detail of yours. Well, it's 10052, and you are seeing the account details of yourself. But if you only change like 10053 account ID and enter, then you can also view the account detail of another person whose account ID is 10053. This kind of vulnerabilities is called the horizontal privilege escalation. Okay. Now we'll see the vertical privilege explanation. This happens when the lower privileged user gains the access to function or data preserved for the higher privileged user like manager or administrators. A regular employee is logged into a corporate dashboard. Their user portal limits them to basic tasks. The user guesses or intercepts an admin endpoint, such as changing http domain.com/user/dashboard to http domain.com/admin details user delete user, or they modify the HTTP account request payload, changing a hidden parameter like is admin false to is admin true. The backend handles the request because it sees the valid login token but fails to verify if the that token belongs to an account with an admin role flag before performing the sensitive administrative action. It means that, for example, you have the link somewhat like this: domain user dashboard. For example, the application gives the dashboard by uh, having this kind of link: domain.com/user dashboard. And if the hacker changes URL, sorry, URL like this and delete the existing user, or if the user doesn't have any rules of the admin, but if that hacker deleted that user or do something, then this kind of vulnerabilities is called the vertical privilege escalation. Our third type of broken access control is the context dependent access control bypass. This occurs when an application fails to enforce the correct state workflow, allowing a user to skip crucial security checkpoint. In a digital payment or check-out application, a user must go through a sequence of steps: select item, process payment, OTP, success confirmation phase. The user skips the payment gateway entirely and types the final URL directly into their browser: https wallet.com/checkout payment success order ID 9982. The backend trusts the request simply because it reaches the success endpoint and completing the order without checking if a valid transaction record was successfully authorized in the payment gateway ledger. It means that if the users, mm, for example, the hacker used the Dora's application and he buys a book, and uh, when he buy a book, then they will put the username and password there and verify. For the verification, it will give you the, we have to send the OTP code. If the OTP code is valid, then only there will be the successful payment. But the hacker doesn't go with that. The hacker will be simply redirect to direct or change the URL to just from this point to direct this successful confirmation page and change the URL like check payment successful order ID 9982. Then there will be the vulnerability, then it doesn't check any OTP and the payment is successful. This way, this kind of vulnerabilities is called context dependent access control bypass. Okay, our first vulnerabilities is broken access for our next second vulnerabilities of 2021 was the cryptographic failure. If the data while transferring the data doesn't encrypt properly and hacker can easily decrypt the data, then it is called cryptographic failure. In our in the when the application wants to send any data to the server or anything else, then the data must be encrypted properly. If the encryption level is not proper or it can be decrypted easily, then hacker can decrypt that data and use the sensitive data there. This kind of vulnerabilities is called the cryptographic failure. Now, our third type of vulnerabilities of 2021 was the injection. The hacker put any query in the input field, hack the application, then it is called the SQL injection. If the hacker put the command means the any jQuery or jQuery command in the input field, then the application, then it is called the command injection. Okay. Let's go to the SQL injection. Imagine you have the standard user login form on the backend. Your code takes the text from the user name and password text boxes and constructs a SQL query string to look up the user. The standard behavior: if a normal user logs in with the username admin and the password, for example, password 123. The database executes select star from user where username and password is equal to password 123. The database searches for the specific user, finds a match and logs them in. It means if the hacker doesn't hack anything, then the SQL query will be execute like this. There is no any mistake, or the user will put the username admin and password, just password. There is no any hacking. If the hacker wants to hack by using the SQL injection, then the hacker put the like this kind of word in the input field, admin or 1 is equal to 1. Okay, let's us read this. The hacker doesn't type regular username. Instead, they type a special string containing the SQL syntax like this into the user box. See, admin or 101. Because the backend code binding clues in this input into the query string, the final command send the SQL server becomes select star from user where username is admin or 101 and password. By just putting the word 10 or 101, it will be always true. In this way, the hacker don't need any correct password and he can log into that application easily. Okay, why it is disaster looks like it is always true. I've already explained this. If the hacker finds the SQL injection vulnerabilities in your application, they can do far more than just bypass a login screen. They can do the data stealing. They can use the operator like union to force the server to dump sensitive data like credit card transaction logs or customer data directly on their web browser screen. It means that the hacker could see all the transaction or see all the credit cards or customer sensitive data by just putting the code in the input field. Or they can inject the semicolon to terminate the first query and add the completely new destructive command, drop table transaction. If all the transactions are inserted in the transaction table, right? Normally we have put the data in the transaction table. If that transaction table is dropped, then there will be the big problem. To protect the application, the golden rules of the database security is never concatenate your user input string directly to the database commands. Use the parameterized query. You can use the parameterized query so that we won't get the SQL injection. I will explain in next video about detail about all the um, 10 vulnerabilities, how the hacker would hack the application and how we can prevent from this. I will just explain about just in a short only. Okay. Our fourth vulnerabilities was the insecure design. A developer is in testing phase about the login. When the login the website, it sends the OTP, but in the developing phase, you disable the OTP. When sending to the live server, you forget to enable the back the OTP code phase. Okay. It means that when we are in a developing phase, we we will get some of, for example, we are developing a login page. For example, it's a Facebook like that, and we will put the username and password. And when it is a first login, then it will gives you. We have to enter the OTP code and only we can log in. But in the developing phase, we are somewhat like irritated about the how just entering the OTP. So we disable the OTP phase part. But when we go to the live, we forget to enable back that OTP phase in it, then it will be a big problem. This kind of vulnerabilities is called the insecure design. Our fifth vulnerabilities it was the security misconfiguration. It means the not using the strong password. The strong one, the password must be very much strong. It must be a alphabet letter. It should contain the some of the numeric number and a special kind of keyword like that. Okay. Our sixth vulnerabilities was the vulnerable and outdated component. Vulnerable due to not updating the application. If the application is not updated, then there may be chance of the hacking. And now our seventh vulnerabilities was the identification and authentication failure. When the user log in and save the password, then the cookie will be saved in the session ID. If the hacker takes the cookie and log in, then hacker doesn't need any password and can easily access the application without password. It means that, for example, you have logged in the Facebook by clicking the username and password and you have saved by remember me, then that password are saved in a cookie in a session ID. If that hacker take that cookie and again put that cookie to the another browser and just run it, then the hacker doesn't need any password now. The password is within that cookie. So by doing like this, the hacker could access that sensitive data. Our eighth type of vulnerabilities of 2021 was the software and data integrity failure. If your system downloads files or updates without checking the authenticity, attackers can exploit this trust. The if we doesn't check the updates, for example, the application needs many applications such as GitHub or something like that, and there is a update in that application GitHub, then it will update that application without just checking it. Then there will be the vulnerabilities. The hacker could send the malicious data in that update. That kind of vulnerabilities also is called the software and data integrity failure. Our ninth vulnerabilities was the security logging and monitoring failures. Of course, when the system fails to proper record, review, or alert on a critical security events like login failed attempts and high-value transactions, this lack of visibility allow attackers to breach network, exfiltrate data, and maintain long-term access completely undetected. It means that, for example, a hacker just try to log in the Facebook, and he tried a lot, just using the password like admin 123, or in 2 3 days later again he is trying another password like something admin@123. There were the multiple fail attempt. If we doesn't check that logs that one of the IP address, one of the user is trying that to log in and there is a multiple login failed, then we didn't monitor that, then there will be the big problem. If that hacker by trying the several password, and if that hacker could log in that application, then the hacker can do anything. This kind of vulnerabilities is called the security logging and monitoring failure. Our last but not least vulnerabilities was the server-side security vulnerability. Of course, when the web application takes or user supplied URL or resources location, and the server makes HTTP requests based on that input without proper validation. Okay, for example, one of the application, we need to enter the URL, and by entering the URL, we will get a preview of that something, or it will process the that take that URL, and it gives the content preview is shown in the user like that. In a straight, or if there is no hacking, then the user will enter the URL, then user will get the preview of something like the final data. For example, the hacker doesn't give the exact URL that should be, and hacker will put the malicious input like localhost admin, like this link. Then if the hacker put the link http localhost/admin, then a hacker could get the all the access of admin dashboard. Attacker sees internal content. It means that an attacker could see all the content of the admin panel. We can defense include we can defense from the these vulnerabilities. By defense includes the strict input validation, whitelisting, blocking the private IPs, cloud hardening, and log. I hope that you have pretty much clear about the OWASP. In our next video, I will be explaining about all these 2021 vulnerabilities. In this video, I have just explained little bit only. In our next video, I will give you all the example how the hacker could hack the application and how we can prevent from that vulnerabilities. I hope you have enjoyed my video. I will see you in next video. Thank you.